In a park, a tree was found to have withered and was cut down. Bon was spotted resting on this tree stump, claiming to be pondering its history, but Yoko accused him of just slacking off. This accusation was denied by Bon. Tetsuo, who could be mistaken for a walking advertisement for calorie-rich diets, noted the stump's impressive diameter. Yanagisawa, who bears an uncanny resemblance to a duck, estimated the tree's age to be around 800 years, which Yoko, in a rare moment of mathematical insight, calculated to be about 10 times her grandfather's age. Yanagisawa then linked the tree's age to historical events, but was interrupted by Tetsuo, who pompously reminded everyone that they were in the middle of a science class, a fact that Bon agreed with. The teacher, in an attempt to herd cats, called for the students' attention and instructed those who had finished observing to return to school. Yoko, ever the follower, suggested they should all head back as well. As they left, Bon gave the tree stump a final look, his thoughts lingering on its 8 centuries of existence, perhaps wondering if he'd ever achieve such longevity or significance. In the wee hours of the morning, Bon was summoned from his slumber by his mother's calls, but he chose the warmth of his blanket over the reality of time. Shocked by the late hour, Bon was seen scrambling, questioning his mother's lack of persistence in waking him, only to be informed that her efforts were as frequent as his snoozes. His father, chiming in with a reminder of the ticking clock, suggested a swift gulp of milk as a substitute for breakfast, to which Bon, in his ever-so-average haste, complied. At school, test papers were distributed, and Boa Tetsuo's performance was as underwhelming as his confidence, declaring a total flop. Yanagisawa, ever so helpful, pointed out that a score of 50 was the median, a number that Bon proudly claimed as his own, embodying the essence of mediocrity. Bon, the narrator of his own unremarkable tale. No toppings, no frills, just comfortably bland. As the day progressed, Boa Tetsuo extended an invitation to his residence, which Bon accepted with the condition of post-study attendance. However, Yanagisawa, the bearer of inconvenient truths, reminded them of the looming final exams. Meanwhile, Yumi calls Yoko and asks if her tennis practice is finished. Yumi confirms but is called by someone else, so she bids goodbye. Meanwhile, Tetsuo, who appears to be a fatty boar, seems to have developed a crush on Yumiko. Tetsuo blushes and remarks on Yumi's popularity. In a rather peculiar turn of events, Bon was seen returning to his residence, where he engaged in the consumption of melon. An attempt was made to study, but alas, boredom prevailed and stretching ensued. The clock, in a rebellious act, began to race, and a kaleidoscope of light outside his window led to Bon's fainting. Upon regaining consciousness, Bon ventured outside, only to witness a canine alarmingly barking at Ream, who was precariously perched and then plummeting from a roof. A muddy embrace followed their fall, with Bon catching her in a rather odd fashion. Ream, upon awakening, found herself staring at Bon, contemplating a question but ultimately holding her tongue, deeming him clueless. Bon, in a less than charming manner, dubbed her a weirdo. The day continued with Bon's confusion over the rapid transition from day to night and airborne jellies. Tetsuo, concerned for Bon's health, leaving Bon embarrassed, inquired about his well-being. Meanwhile, Ream and her jelly companion, Buyoyon, were seen dashing through the streets. Back at Tetsuo's, Bon was interrogated about his study progress, with Tetsuo's mother reminding him of the impending finals. Tetsuo, in a desperate attempt to avoid studying, implored Bon to stay. He then revealed his test paper, adorned with a glaring 0, which soon took flight as a paper plane, leading to a series of unfortunate events. Tetsuo, in pursuit of his airborne failure, lost his balance and plummeted to the ground, meeting a grisly end. Time halted, and Ream appeared, lamenting her tardiness and deciding to rewind time despite Buyoyon's protests. Bon, now holding a watermelon, was startled to see Tetsuo alive and accused him of spectral impersonation. In a rather unfortunate turn of events, Bon was seen questioning his own sanity, a sad state of affairs indeed. Behind some grass, a bike was spotted by him, masquerading as a flying machine. Bon, in a moment of denial, dismissed the possibility of it being a rocket. Upon seating himself on this cool contraption, it roared to life much to his dismay, causing the bike to hover and then plummet, sending poor Bon into a state of panic. A tree stump that once was no longer, and Bon found himself amidst a vast jungle. The town seemingly vanished. He proclaimed this to be more than a mere nervous breakdown, with something extraordinarily bizarre unfolding around him. Attempts to maintain calm and seek logical explanations were made. yet they led to naught but confusion. With a peculiar smile, Bon resolved to no longer be taken aback by the oddities, fearing the toll it would take on his composure. A scream escaped him as he tumbled down a slope. Bon was found screaming in the night, only to realize he wasn't alone in his vocal escapades. Emboldened, he armed himself with a stick, ready to take on the world or at least the person screaming back. However, his bravado quickly evaporated when he spotted a robber, who was not just any robber, but one with a flair for swordplay. Ream, the time-locking savior, who froze the robber mid-slash, grabbed Bon's hand and whisked him away. She then proceeded to lament about the arduous task of tracking down Bon, while Buyoyon, who seemed to have a boat fixation, demanded the return of their time boat. Buyoyon, however, was not in the mood for gratitude. The plot thickened as Ream disclosed the need to retrieve the boat Bon had commandeered. Bon, clueless about his landing spot, could only offer a big cedar stump as a landmark. Buyoyon expressed concern over Ream's reliance on rewinds. Bon's identity crisis peaked when he questioned who these time travelers were. Ream introduced herself as part of the Time Patrol. Bon was impressed. As they journeyed through the time dimension, she then revealed a device designed to interfere with memory. The drama escalated when a Time Patrol guard arrived, announcing headquarters' decision to erase Bon from existence. Bon, understandably confused and alarmed, was reassured that they didn't intend to kill him, just prevent his birth by stopping his parents from marrying. Bon argued that this was essentially the same as killing him, but Ream and the guard disagreed. The argument was cut short when Bon leaped onto Ream's time boat, causing it to veer off course. They found themselves in the ocean, facing a dragon. The guard shot at the dragon, saving them, but then aimed at Bon, who fell from the boat. Bon awoke on the cedar stump and rushed home fearing erasure, only to find his mother disappearing before his eyes. It turned out to be another Time Patrol trick, as Ream and the guards appeared, revealing that Bon was historically significant after all. To keep the Time Patrol's existence a secret, they recruited Bon as an agent, much to his shock.